Don't know what the name of this sculpture is, but it's right outside the Indiana Statehouse, and I figured it'll be a nice establishing shot for this video. So I was like, what the heck? Yeah, beautiful sculpture though. Once I figure out the name of it, hey, I'll let you guys know. All right, here we go. What's going on, great people? This your boy P9 coming at you from Indianapolis, Indiana, the capital of Indiana and the largest city of Indiana. This is Indianapolis. I'm going down the main drag of Meridian Street. I'm at the corner of Meridian and 9th. Indianapolis is also the 17th largest city in the US. And it's the 3rd largest city in the Midwest, behind Chicago and Columbus, Ohio. And it's approximately 9:40 in the morning. Probably about low 70s. So not bad. There goes the Indigo City bus right there. Now this building right here is the Indianapolis Public Library. And it looks like right over here is yeah, it looks like a modernized section of the library. Goes the cathedral. Here's the central library right here. Here's the front of that library that we just saw. This building has been up since 1873. This is the St. Clair entrance to the library. And over here is a section of downtown called the American Legion Mall. So it's basically like this American Legion Mall is basically just a little park that commemorates American soldiers. As you can see, the 4 columns with the golden eagles located on them, the American flag flying. But like over here, you have this building right here, which is the national headquarters of the American Legion. And then you have this huge grassy field right here with a nice view of these buildings. Looks like the Salesforce Tower right there, as well as a couple of other like office buildings. Right here is the Scottish Rite Cathedral. So that's 2 cathedrals within a 2-block span. But I'm back on Meridian Street. Had to detour and check out that American Legion Park. And what I read up about Indianapolis is that they have a lot of these like squares, these like square parks. Indianapolis was actually plotted out of a mile square. So their downtown area is kind of like a square mile, so to speak. And Indianapolis does have an interesting street grid as well. So going back to what I was saying about the square mile grid that Indianapolis was platted on, the downtown area. It was platted by Alexander Ralston and Elias Fordham. So there's as you'll see, there's a square, there's a mile square, and there's a couple of like diagonal streets. Interesting street pattern. It's very unique. Check this out. I think these are all like, these are like a lot of the state flags right here. But this is called the Indiana World War Memorial Plaza. So you have this structure right here, this sculpture that's pretty much sculpted in similar fashion as the Washington Monument, but you have it right here in this circular fountain. And again, this is the Indiana War Memorial Plaza. You can see the beautiful fountains right here. Now this section of the park right here faces out towards Pennsylvania Avenue, which is another north-south running street in downtown. I'm gonna go around and make my way back down Meridian. This is closer up to where we saw not too long ago over at the American Legion Mall. This is the Indiana World War Memorial Building. So it seems like this section of downtown is a lot of parks and monuments that are dedicated towards, you know, like veterans who served in these multiple wars. Check out this building right here. Now, as far as this park and this building, the War Memorial Plaza was constructed in 1919. So just slightly over 100 years old, slightly over a century. It's been standing here. And another nickname for Indianapolis is the Circle City. Why it's called that, I'm not quite sure. I feel like I'm gonna find out later on. Approaching the corner of Meridian and Vermont Street as I'm heading southbound on Meridian. Here's another view of the Indiana World War Memorial. I actually got here to Indianapolis roughly 30 minutes ahead of schedule. My estimated time of arrival was around 10 o'clock Eastern time, which is the local time here for Indianapolis, their Eastern Standard Time. I'm coming from another time zone in Alabama, so 6-hour drive. So my estimated time of arrival was 10 local time, but I actually arrived a little after 9:30. So I'm grateful for that. All this time I actually thought, being that Indianapolis is in the Midwest, I always thought it was in the Central Time Zone, but it's come to find out it's actually in the Eastern Time Zone. So it's like you lose an hour, but it's all good. We're only a block or two away from perhaps one of the biggest landmarks, if not the biggest landmark in the city of Indianapolis. This tall building right here is the Salesforce Tower. It's a cloud-based software company that's headquartered in San Francisco. But it's headquartered in San Francisco, but they do have a building here in Indianapolis. So I guess this is the regional headquarters right here, and it's right next to the BMO building, and I believe the BMO is a financial organization. It's a national bank, and they're headquartered in Chicago. But right here, this building right here is the U.S. courthouse. So it's a federal building. Right here at the corner of Meridian in Ohio. It's a Sheraton Hotel right there. This is the entrance to Salesforce Tower, as you can see. Now, this is the most visible landmark in Indianapolis, as I mentioned before. We're right here at the Monument Circle. Looks like they have some kind of construction going on. I'm not quite sure what they're doing, exactly what they're constructing over there. I don't know if they're like just repaving it or adding something to it, but that's what's going on over there at the Monument Circle. Let me go over this way actually. Now, the official name of it is the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. And this is basically a circular brick paved street right here. And right over here, it looks like a little park that surrounds Monument Circle. It's like some artificial turf and some tables. It's like a foosball table over here. You can actually come over here. It's like a little recreational area right over here on the circle. Oh, this is cool. When I read up on this place, I didn't know they had this over here. They got a foosball table. They got benches. They got a ping pong table. I think that's what that is. So the Monument Circle is located on 1 acre of land, and it was actually built in 1888. So it was designed over a 13-year period between 1888 and 1901 by German architect Bruno Schmitz. So as you would imagine, it would take that like over a 10-year period to construct a monument and a landmark such as this one. I like how they architected this. Bruno Schmitz did his thing on this one right here. Look how tall that sculpture is. I see why this is a very iconic landmark right here in Indianapolis. Because you have the waterfall right here. The brick paved streets is really cool too. Whatever they're constructing or whatever they're working on, I know it's going to look nice when they're done. Here's a statue of James Whitcomb, who was the governor of Indiana during the Mexican War period between 1846 and 1847. So as you would imagine, you have sculptures and statues of governors, big political figures, and soldiers as well, who represented the state of Indiana. Here's the other part of this monument. Let me go across the street over here as well. They also have restaurants over here as well. And right over here is the MS Communications building. So there's multiple radio stations, and there's the newspaper publication Indianapolis Monthly, as well as the ESPN 1070 The Fan. All of those are housed right in this building. Again, it's called MS Communications, right here at 40 Monument Circle. So they have a country station, 97.1. Hank FM. You have again the 1070 The Fan, which is Indy's version of Sports Center. You see that right there. And there goes the building right over here, the entrance to the building. And there's the Indianapolis Monthly. And here's also another radio station whose format is news, WIBC 93.1 and B105.7 Soft Rock. So what better location than it to be right over here on the Monument Circle, right here in front of this gorgeous structure, or sculpture rather. So Monument Circle basically intersects Meridian Avenue. It's a circle that's like right there, and it's probably, and I think, now that I think about it, I think that cracks the mystery as to why Indianapolis is called Circle City, probably because of that circular street that's right there smack dab in the middle of the city that has the monument, Sailors and Soldiers Monument. Okay, that's why they call it Circle City. I couldn't figure it out at first, but now there we go. There's the answer. as we continue down Meridian Street. We're at the corner of Meridian and Washington Street. They have a food truck over there as well. Mobile Gourmet. There's where that smoke is coming from. Smells good. Smells like barbecue. Not quite lunchtime yet, but it is making me hungry. That scent from the barbecue. As I continue down Meridian Avenue, I am now entering what's known as the Wholesale District. And just to give a little background as to why this is known as the Wholesale District. Well, before the advent of modern day grocery stores, they would sell groceries wholesale in like markets or in vendors. And given Indianapolis location where all these railroads are located, which is also why Indianapolis is called the Crossroads of America. It's a lot of railroads in Indianapolis. And at the time when Wholesale District was established, Indianapolis was a relatively small town. So, but because they had the railroads, because of the railroads and everything, is what made Indianapolis a strategic location to have these wholesale grocers. But at the time, they were getting most of their groceries and their wholesale products from older and more established cities like Louisville and Cincinnati. And at the time, remember, Indianapolis, this was like the 1800s, where Indianapolis was still a relatively small town. But it was because of the Wholesale District and the railroads, particularly Union Station, which we're going to see after a while. It's why those are basically the catalysts of Indianapolis's growth from a small town into a major city that it is today. And again, Indianapolis is younger than Cincinnati and Louisville, which are other, you know, Midwest cities that are not too far from Indianapolis. But now, as you see today, there's a lot of buildings, brick buildings, lofts, one and two bedroom lofts, bars, restaurants, theaters. It's all type of development in the area where it used to be relatively a small, like farm, kind of like a farm like town, so to speak. There goes a bar right there. It's a District Tap. And there's another bar over here called the Kilroy's Bar and Grill. And there's a comedy club right here as well. Check this out. Oh, looks like a statue of John Wooden, the legendary head coach from UCLA. Success is a peace of mind attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable. John Wooden. Words from a wise man. As long as you put your best foot forward, the success that ensues from putting your best foot forward is definitely worth the satisfaction, or the satisfaction is worth the effort. So again, we're in the Wholesale District, which is in the southwest quad of Indianapolis. This building right here is called, it's a Circle Center Mall. So there's a mall that's right here in downtown, which is interesting considering that now a lot of malls, like major shopping centers, are located in the suburbs because of the whole suburbanization and everything of that nature. People leaving the cities to go live in the suburbs after the highways were developed. Like, it's rare to see malls located like right downtown in any city, but that's what you have right here. Again, it's called the Circle Center Mall. Go back this way. Sidewalk closed due to construction. Here's another Indiana legend. It's a statue of Tom Jernstedt, the father of the modern Final Four, guiding the influence of relocation of the NCAA headquarters to Indianapolis. So yes, the NCAA headquarters, which is short for National Collegiate Athletic Association, it is headquartered right here in Indianapolis. And this individual right here, Tom Jernstedt, is the president of USA Basketball and was the inductee into the Naismith Memorial Basketball and NCAA Basketball Hall of Fames. So this is a dedication to Tom Jernstedt. over here at the corner of Georgia Street and Pennsylvania Street in the Wholesale District. And this is the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This is the home of the Indiana Pacers of the NBA and the Indiana Fever of the WNBA. And the Indiana Pacers, unfortunately, recently were eliminated from the playoffs in the Western Conference, or excuse me, the Eastern Conference Finals by the Boston Celtics. But this city should definitely be proud of the achievements that the Indiana Pacers have made. They've come a long way, and that franchise is only going to get better. They have a core of young players, and if the management can keep the majority of that core together, then who knows where they'll go from here. They still have a young squad. They keep the key players like Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, Ben Shepherd, Jarice Walker, players like that. They keep them together, then they're gonna only get better as time goes. I mean, they already made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is a huge step forward. And they're a young squad, along with the Charlotte Hornets and the OKC Thunder, to name a few. But right where we just passed by is a team store for the Indiana Pacers and the Indiana Fever. And right now, being that the WNBA season is in effect for the Indiana Fever, they have players like Aaliyah Boston, who are out here on banners. There's Aaliyah Boston. You have Katie Lou Samuelson right there. And you have Kelsey Mitchell, Celeste Taylor, and right over here you have the stadium itself, Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and this is one of the entrances to the arena. And wow. And they're actually open. I didn't think they would be open, but yeah, this is the inside of the field house, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So this building was actually dedicated in November of 1999 as the Conseco Fieldhouse. Now, this was when I was a child. This was back when the Indiana Pacers were real good. I mean, they're good now, but they were really good. They were, they competed in the finals that following year when this stadium was built in 1999, and the next year the Pacers were in the NBA Finals. That's when they had Reggie Miller, of course. They had Rick Smits. I don't know if you guys remember Rick Smits. Who else? Antonio Davis, Dale Davis, just to name a few. I want to say Al Harrington. But yeah, the Indiana Pacers, they for a team, they have a lot of history, and they started out in the ABA, along with the Spurs and a few other teams. And one of their most famous players in the history, outside of Reggie Miller and Paul George, they had a player by the name of Mel Daniels, and that was during the ABA era. And the Pacers, you know, they've had a lot of success throughout the franchise history. They just have yet to win that Larry O'Brien. But I think, you know, I can't predict the future, but I could see them maybe within the next 10 years. Hopefully for the sake of the city of Indianapolis, that they're gonna bring home that Larry O'Brien. But this is a nice stadium. This is really, they got this almost looks like a movie theater in a way. You know, we're right here over here in the atrium, and they have a box office right here, where I guess where they sell the tickets for the events that are hosted here, because it's not just basketball. They also host other events as well, like concerts, things of that nature. They got the escalators and the stairs right there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And again, it's called the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. I was actually shocked that the doors were open, but that's cool. I'm glad that it is. Again, you're going to see the Indiana Fever prominently on like a lot of the banners and on the jumbotrons, because the Fever, the WNBA season is in effect as of now. You know, of course, the NBA season is not officially over because the finals they start tonight, but you know, the Indiana Pacers season unfortunately is over. So, you know, Pacers fans, keep your heads up. But I definitely wanted to come out and see this. This is like right outside the stadium.
And on the night of MLK's assassination, they helped maintain the peace in Indianapolis in a powerful display of nonviolent solidarity. Unfortunately, the fight for civil rights remains an ongoing battle still today. But so long as there are people willing to stand up for justice, our city will always strive for a better future.
Okay. The ongoing fight for civil rights in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis has always been a city of creators. In 1885, T.C. Steele began teaching students from the studio in the very building that would one day become the Herod School of Art, where artists like John Wesley Hardwick and William Edward Scott studied the craft. Decades later, Mari Evans and Ethridge Knight, critical voices.
It's a nice sculpture right here. I'm not sure what it's called, but you can see your reflection right off of the sculpture. It's pretty nice. And they have a little seating area right here, right next to what looks like a little grassy area, artificial turf. Then you have the Hyatt House Hotel right here. And right here on this building is the schedule for the 2024 Indiana Fever season. So during the season for the Pacers, they have the Pacers schedule plastered up here. Now it is June the, what's today? Today is June the 6th. So they don't have any scheduled games here today, but they do have a game. Their next home game is scheduled on the 13th, where they host the Atlanta Dream. But their next 3 games, they're going to be on the road. Okay. You know, of course, Caitlin Clark, who was drafted in 2024 this year, first overall pick, is doing her thing so far in the WNBA. Wow, look at these basketballs that they have right here. Also, I have to make mention of this. Indiana has a long history of basketball, not just from the professional standpoint, but high school basketball. Indiana, just like North Carolina, Michigan, Illinois, states like those are known for its basketball on the high school level and collegiate level with the Indiana Hoosiers and Indiana State as well. And I think that's right there. It looks like that may be Larry Bird. Yeah, that is Larry Bird actually. And let me see, who is this? I think that's George McGinnis. Who is this? Wait a minute, don't tell me, who is that? Monica Maxwell, that's who that was right there. Oh, that's cool. That is so dope, man. 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. So they competed on multiple levels. Milan versus Muncie Central. Okay. There go some more seating areas over here. Check this out. 1955 state champs, the Crispus Attucks High School legendary basketball team. And they were the first black team in the nation to win a state championship. 1955 Crispus Attucks High School basketball. Oh, Oscar Robertson was on that team? Look at the big O. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's fresh. That's fresh, man. I'm glad I walked back down this way because I would have missed this. I would have definitely missed this. And you also still got some nice views of the city. And you got that steel sculpture over there as well. Kentucky versus Indiana All-Star Classic. Okay. Okay. And I want to get this one up here too. Let's see. I like the color too. This is George McGinnis right here. Okay. One of the very best. George McGinnis, Steve Downing, and the 1969 Indianapolis, Washington champions. Indianapolis, Washington High School produced college and ABA legends that would shape basketball in Indiana for decades. The final four teams of the tournament in 1969 entered the semifinals with just one combined loss, and Washington came out victorious. Curated by the Indy Arts Council, Hoosier Historia. Okay, pretty cool history. A lot, like I said, a lot of history when it comes to basketball in the state of Indiana. And also, might I add, the All-Star game was just hosted a few months ago right here at this very stadium. So I think they did a lot of those, they put a lot of those up recently in anticipation for the All-Star game, hosting the All-Star game. So that's really cool. The Indie Arts Council, y'all did y'all thing. Shout out to y'all. Oh, I forgot to mention Jalen Rose. Dang, I left off Jalen Rose. He was on that team in 2000 that went to the NBA Finals as well. Right over here, this facility is the Indiana Pacers training facility. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my way over here. So the Pacers' first game as an NBA team after they joined the NBA, after the ABA-NBA merger, was October 21st, 1976. And this was when this facility was built, with August 2017, St. Vincent Center. And Market Square Arena, which is the old arena where the Pacers played, October 18th, 1974. And as a part of the ABA, the Pacers won 3 championships, 70, 72, and 73. Wow, so they have all the history right here. Central Division champs, 95, 99, 04, 2013, 2020, 2014, and I would imagine 2024. Wholesale Fieldhouse opening night. So that is this building, which is now known as the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And as I mentioned earlier, 2000 Eastern Conference champs. That was Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, Rick Smits, all of them cats, man. And of course, this year, February 18, 2024, All-Star game was hosted right here at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Larry Bird, 2012 NBA Executive and 98 Coach of the Year. Donnie Walsh, Architect of Success. 2011 WNBA MVP, 2012 Finals MVP, Tamika Catchings. And the NBA All-Stars. So these are the players, all the players that made the NBA All-Star team throughout the franchise history. Don Bruce, Billy Knight, Reggie Miller, Detlef Schrempf, Rick Smits, Dale Davis, Jermaine O'Neal, Brad Miller, Ron Artest, Danny Granger, Roy Hibbert, Paul George, Victor Oladipo, DeMonte Sabonis, and Tyrese Halliburton. In the ABA All-League, George McGinnis, Bob Nedolicki, I don't know if I pronounced that right, and Mel Daniels and Roger Brown. NBA Most Improved, Jalen Rose, Jermaine O'Neal, Danny Granger, Paul George, Victor Oladipo. Gosh, they have a lot of history, man. Champion, the WNBA champion, 2012 Fever, 2009, 12, 15 Eastern Conference champions. Rick Carlisle got his 900th career win on November 6, 2023. NBA Sixth Man of the Year, Detlef Schrempf, 91-92, 92-93. NBA Rookie of the Year, Chuck Person. Bobby Leonard, Mel Daniels, Roger Brown, George McInnes, Naismith Hall of Fame. Aren't y'all forgetting Reggie Miller? NBA Coach of the Year, Larry Bird in 97-98, Jack McKinney 80-81. And Reggie Miller and Tamika Catchings, Naismith Hall of Fame. Okay. Alright. NBA Defensive Player of the Year, Ron Artest. NBA All-League, Jermaine O'Neal, Reggie Miller, Ron Artest, Victor Oladipo, Paul George. And Lynn Dunn, Tamika Catchings, Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Aaliyah Boston and Tamika Catchings up there, WNBA Rookie of the Year. Aaliyah Boston got it in 2023. And the ABA MVPs, Mel Daniels, George McInnes. So the Pacers and the Fever have tons of success. And I already know Caitlin Clark's name's gonna end up on there one of these days in the future. Here comes some artwork right here in this tunnel right here. It's a nice picture of the dog. And Ron Luhorn, Slice Artist at Instagram. It's a nice little picture right here. That's dope. I really like that. That is fresh, man. Hanzo the Street Demon. Oh, wow. At Bentley Murals. They got some dope artwork down here. There's some more on the other side as well. This is in front of Union Station. And again, Union Station is where a lot of the goods, particularly the grocers, were supplied through the railroads at Union Station. Union Station is also where the Amtrak runs in present day. As we make our way towards South Street. So we're more or less on the south side of downtown. Bar right here, Slippery Noodle. Oh wow, check this out. They have a White Castle over there. I haven't seen one of those in years. And they're open 24 hours too. I can't think about White Castle without thinking about the Harold and Kumar movies. Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. I've never actually eaten at any of their restaurants because they don't have them down south, down in the deep south, or at least not where I grew up, you know. I believe they have one in Nashville, but now we saw the basketball side of things in Indianapolis. Now we're at the football side of things. We're at Lucas Oil Stadium on the south side of downtown. This is the home of the NFL's Indianapolis Colts. And from the looks of it, it looks like it's going to host some of the US Olympic trials, because the Olympics is going to be this summer. And I think the trials looks like, from the front of it, looks like the trials will be hosted right here at Lucas Oil Stadiums for the US Olympic swimming team. But this is the front of Lucas Oil Stadium, the north gate. And you get a pretty good view of the city from here with some construction cranes in the background. And right across, well, we'll get to that in a minute, but right here is a statue of the one and only, the Sheriff Peyton Manning, who after Johnny Unitas became the like the star quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts franchise. And Peyton Manning played for the Colts franchise from 1998 to 2011, and he was the #1 pick in the 1998 NFL draft. And he became one of the greatest all-time players. And he started every game in his first 13 seasons and provided Colts fans with some of the most prolific moments in sports history. Yes, because prior to that, the Colts were they were terrible before Peyton Manning came. That's why they got the #1 pick in the 98 draft. But he turned that franchise around, and ultimately won them a Super Bowl in 2006. And this was before the Colts even played in this building, because the Lucas Oil Stadium opened in 2008. So as you can see, there's number 18 right there. And there he goes. That left foot forward, that right hand throwing motion. Peyton Manning, of course, retired as a member of the Broncos, where he also won a Super Bowl. And I remember growing up watching the Colts. They were one of the fiercest teams in the NFL. I mean, if it wasn't for a guy named Tom Brady, the Colts would probably have more Super Bowls. Like, they were that good. I remember when they had Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark, Reggie Wayne, that receiving core. Also Edgerrin James in the backfield. They was pretty solid. They had a good defense too, you know. Gary Brackett, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis. There was a whole bunch of guys on that defense. Bob Sanders, the safety. And then, of course, there's a lot of all-time greats that played for the Colts before they even became the Indianapolis, which is a bizarre story within itself. How that franchise just up and picked up and left Baltimore, Maryland, and moved to Indianapolis like in the mid-80s. It was crazy. But that is Lucas Oil Stadium. Jonathan Taylor is a solid running back that plays for him right now. T.Y. Hilton was a good player for the Colts as well. He doesn't play for him anymore, but and of course Andrew Luck did his thing when he was with the Colts. So it's been a lot of great players that suited up for that organization. And also like my girlfriend, she's a Colts fan as a matter of fact. She would love to come to one of their games. Hopefully we can make that happen in the near future. But Indianapolis, Indiana. And here is the Indiana Convention Center, which is right across from Lucas Oil Stadium. And in 2012, Indianapolis was the host city for the Super Bowl. So the Indiana Convention Center was like a centerpiece for that event as well. And there were a lot of hotels that got booked up because of the Super Bowl. So that was a huge economic draw for the city. A huge economic boost for the city, I should say. As you can see, numerous works of art right here in this tunnel. This is called the India Cruise Griffin Court Digital Photography. Leagues 2018 by William Denton Ray. So these kind of look like abstract artwork. Priya Whitman, Flight 2021. What's this? Now this is nice. This is by Mervia Soul Eckert, Getting My Rhythm 2021. Acrylic on canvas. Sponsored by the Indie Arts Council. Some nice art, some nice artwork for people like myself that like to walk around and see the city. Give us something to look at. It's the other side of the Indiana Convention Center. There goes the construction crew hard at work. I'm on Georgia Street. This is the Georgia Street entrance of the convention center. St. John the Evangelist Catholic Church right here. Earlier I saw a couple of cathedrals on Meridian Street, or Meridian Avenue rather. I'm over here on Maryland Street now. Now this gentleman right here who's sitting here smiling with the shirt and tie on right here, it's called the Hud Nut Commons. Beautiful landscape park. Of course you see the fountain in the district. The Indianapolis Cultural Trail. So I'm on the cultural trail. Okay, cool. Yo, check that out. Goes your girl Caitlin Clark. She even has a huge poster right at the side of the Hyatt Regency building. And she doing it big, man. I mean, she's getting endorsed by Gatorade, which is like the premier sports drink. And I mean, she doing it big. She may be getting a lot of hate from certain groups of people. From certain people, she gets, you know, she gets a lot of flack and hate. But I mean, she doing her thing. You can't hate on that. She's extremely talented, and she making waves. I mean, she's actually, one thing about Caitlin Clark is that a lot of more people are watching the WNBA because of her. Like the ratings for WNBA has skyrocketed as of late because of her. So you can't hate on that. Here comes another Abraham Lincoln marker and statue. Here's just a timeline of Abraham Lincoln from the time he ran for president, or ran for political office. At first he ran for political office in the Illinois General Assembly, but was unsuccessful in 1832. And it's just a timeline of that. And then, you know, of course, his debates that he had with Stephen Douglas in the race for the Senate seat. He was elected in 1860 as the 16th president of the U.S. president from the newly formed Republican Party. So the Republican Party started in 1860 with Abraham Lincoln being elected as the first president. That's interesting. I did not know that. He delivered the Gettysburg Address on November 19th at the direction of the Soldiers National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And yeah, and he played a huge part in emancipating and freeing the 4 million slaves that were within the Confederacy. So yeah, that's why I always said jokingly that Abraham Lincoln is the first black president. and he's on the back of the penny. Anybody who ever watched Paul Mooney, the comedian, probably would get that joke. But yeah, that's Abraham Lincoln. If you ask me, he's probably like my favorite president. Like, I mean, that was like in history, like from a historical standpoint. Like, out of all the presidents we read about in history class, he was the one that stood out the most to me, that I was always fascinated by. I'm at the corner of Capitol Avenue and Washington Street. As I continue down the Indianapolis Cultural Trail. There goes the Indigo Rapid bus right there. Let me see. Going up here. Nice statue right here. Thomas Andrew Hendricks, the Vice President of the U.S. with Democrat President Grover Cleveland in 1885. Born September 7th, 1819. Died November 25th, 1885. He's buried at Crown Hill Cemetery right here in Indianapolis. So it's a nice sculpture right here. The Lincoln funeral train. In the rain, Lincoln's coffin was escorted along crowded streets lined with soldiers to Old Statehouse located here. Reports say at least 50,000 people viewed Lincoln's open casket in the rotunda. Wow. And it returned to Union Depot. Train departed at 12 a.m. for Michigan City. Last scheduled Indiana stop. So Lincoln's casket was transported through the streets of Indianapolis en route to his burial, his final resting place in Springfield, Illinois. And that being said, we are right here at the Indiana Statehouse, or the Indiana State Capitol building. This is the lower west entrance of it. As I'm gonna go around and go to the front. Oh, they got the Indiana state flag on the side of this parking deck. It's pretty neat. Yeah. This is the state capitol, the front of the state capitol building of Indiana. As you can see, and there's a construction crane over there, so it looks like they're doing some work over on this side of the building. And here goes a statue that sits right in front of the building. So of course the state capitol building hosts, it houses the offices of the state assembly. So that includes the state house of representatives and the state senate, as well as the governor of Indiana. Now, the little bit of history on this is that the state capitol was moved to Indianapolis 1825 from Corydon. That was the first capital of Indiana. Before Indianapolis, it was Corydon. And the capital built on this site in 1835 was razed, aka demolished, in 1878 to make way for this State House, completed in 1888. So this building has been up now for 135 years. So the old Capitol building that sat over here was demolished so that this could be built in 1888, and it's still standing. As you can tell, it looks every bit of 135 years old, but they preserve it very well, so you know how that goes. Architectural style, Renaissance revival. Which is different than Greek revival, as it draws revivals, it draws different styles from different architectural styles across Europe. But yeah, that is the state capitol. Right here on Washington Street. Get one last look of this view right here of the Capitol, not the Capitol, excuse me. I'm standing in front of the Capitol building looking at the Circle Monument from this angle. And with that, I'm gonna take a break, and the next destination is gonna be really dope, so stay tuned. Y'all check this out. I was walking down this pedestrian walkway, and there was a series of food trucks and different vendors, and I happened to run across this particular one because it's so hot out here. I got me some shaved ice, and the name of the business is called Moo and Lou Frozen Treats and More. So this is really innovative because not only do they have the food truck, they also have this machine right here where you can pick out your flavors. So what I got me wild cherry mixed with cotton candy blue and pink lemon sour. But I thought this was pretty cool. You know, I like to support locally owned businesses, small businesses, things of that nature. So I need to check these individuals out because they have the truck that they sell shaved ice, lemonade slushies, and also ice cream. Again, that's Moo and Lou Frozen Treats and More. Check this out. It's a bunch of deer and antelope. This little waterfall right here. This is in front of the Untitled Museum of American Indians and Western Art. That's the Untitled Museum. And over there, this building right here is the Indiana State Museum. They also have an IMAX theater in there as well. I am now on the grounds of White River State Park. And again, this is a state park.
If you like Tom, come on this side. If you like Jerry, come on this side. Wait, what?
Now remember, when you saw my second Nashville video, I went to the Bicentennial Capital State Mall Park, or Bicentennial Capital Mall State Park. And I said during that time, I didn't know that there was a state park that existed right in the heart of the city. Now, Indianapolis has a state park as well. Again, this is White River State Park, right on the banks of White River, which runs through downtown Indianapolis. So it's a nice little area to jog, walk. This is essentially like a canal, and there's a pedestrian bridge right there. And nearby is also the headquarters of NCAA. And what's cool about today is that it's in the low 80s, so it's a really nice day to go walking, and it's a little breeze in the air as well. So it's a beautiful day to go walking for sure. Come out here in this park, meditate, yoga, do all type of spiritual exercises. And of course, you can see a lot of nice sculptures through the park. You're always going to have sculptures in these big green spaces. Now this one is called The Totem by Ronaldo Paluzzi, 1927. It's a nice sculpture.
Probably got picked out of the.
And I believe this here is the NCAA building, the NCAA headquarters building. Again, you have the brick paved streets right here, and you have the brick paved sidewalk, rather. I said street, I meant to say sidewalk. And this is the Hall of Champions right here in the NCAA building. And this building right here is the national office of the NCAA. So White River State Park, excuse me, is 292 acres of space. So it's a massive park, a lot to take in. As you can see, the good people over here doing like yoga exercises, I believe. Goes another really nice waterfall right here. There's two of them. And right over here is the White River. So it seems like the waterfalls over there, the water is flowing off the waterfalls and coming into the, it's flowing into the river. Yeah, that's pretty cool right there. Just hearing that river flow, the sound, the ambient sound, is just very relaxing. You could actually go to sleep off of that. It can lull you to sleep for sure. That's how relaxing it is. And again, those are waterfalls. Very picturesque. Y'all excuse me if you hear a little slurping. It's just me slurping on this shaved ice, slushy, if you will. Just trying to stay hydrated out here in this sun. And there goes the view of the city right there. You know, I always like getting the view of the city from these parks. This is a really good shot right here. And this is Indy, but it's missing the eye. And you know why it's missing the eye? Because somebody can actually stand right here, a person could stand right here and fill in for the eye and actually take a picture. Very creative. Very creative. Another nice view of the river. Beautiful white river as it flows through the city. This is also nice right here. It's called the Hurricane by Raymond Katz of Pontiac, Michigan. So the meaning of this is the manipulation of form and space to create visual balance using rhythm, action, and movement combined to create compositions that convey the implied energy found in my work and expressed in my current installation, Hurricane. Okay. So it's about the evolutionary process and combining rhythm, visual balance, and space. So again, another brilliant art piece by a brilliant artist that has meaning in the human experience. White River State Park is really nice, by the way. They have, again, that's a lot of nice sculptures, a lot of beautiful things to take in. This steel sculpture, stainless steel sculpture, New Beginnings by Kenneth Chastain of Franklin, Indiana. So he's from the same state. New Beginnings as well, with 304 high quality stainless steel pieces from Belvedere Paper Mill Company that was once south of White River State Park's amphitheater. Oh, it's an amphitheater? Oh, wow, okay. But yeah, there was a paper mill that was not too far from here where the stainless steel material came from to construct that sculpture. So that's really nice. And here's another sculpture right here that also was curated using stainless steel. And this one is called Intergalactic by Nathan Pierce of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. So it's also a nice piece. Raw strength of stainless steel with ethereal transparency of cast acrylic. Captures the essence of intergalactic communication where rigid boundaries dissolve and connections transcend physical limitations. That's deep, bro. The interplay between solid and translucent elements symbolize the fluid exchange of information between distant realms, inviting viewers to contemplate the universal language that unites us across the cosmos. And for somebody who's spiritual like myself, that means a lot. When we talk about the cosmos and human connections through the cosmos, basically universal connection, that means a lot. And this one's like, I guess it's like a unicycle. Rollin', Rollin', Rollin' by Justin Deester of Boulder County, Colorado. inspired by American history, which is often deeply troubled like today with hardships and cruelty, conflict and conquest. Our American story is often harsh, unfair, and wounded. Wow. Well, you just have to go through. One thing about it, throughout the hardships and cruelty that goes on in the world, we just have to roll through it. As hard as it may be. What's this, like a bull? A bull made out of, what is that? It's the American bison. William Arnold, the sculptor. I wonder what that is. It's like, oh, it's barbed wire. It looks like barbed wire, yeah. It's an American bison sculpted out of barbed wire. And again, the sculptor is William Arnold. That's dope. That is really cool right there. It's nice that you have these artists and sculptors who can become innovative using raw materials. And here's the side of the Indianapolis Zoo, which is actually, the entrance is further south. But the Indianapolis Zoo is over here as well. I'm gonna make my way back. Just wanted to get that experience of walking across the White River State Park. Very relaxing place to hang out. Bring the family, bring the kids, bring yourself, bring that significant other. It doesn't matter. Just come on out here and just, you know, take in the scenery, take in the sun, soak up the sun, all that good stuff. And listen to the calm flow of the river. And depending on where you are in the park, you can get a nice view of the downtown buildings.
I heard that. I get mine too. No, because Henry has been here.
Well, that does it for this segment of this vlog here in Indianapolis, specifically at the White River State Park. And I'll be back with more footage. Back on Washington Street. It's like the arts district of Indianapolis. This is the Indiana Repertory Theater. Old classical building. Indianapolis Arts Garden. Wow. This site is where the lynching of John Tucker, a local farmer who was born enslaved in Kentucky in 1800 and later obtained his freedom. He moved to Indianapolis by the mid-1830s, where he raised 2 children. On July 4th, 1845, white laborer Nicholas Wood physically assaulted Tucker as he walked along Washington Street. Tucker defended himself against Wood's attack while retreating up Illinois Street. A large crowd watched as Wood and 2 other men beat Tucker to death here. Wood was convicted of manslaughter, a rarity in an era when black Hoosiers could not testify in court. Wood served 3 years in prison. The others served no time. Lynchings in Indiana from the mid-1800s to 1930 intentionally terrorized black communities and enforced white supremacy. That's crazy, man. So incidents like that didn't just happen like in the deep south, it also happened in the Midwest, like out here in Indianapolis. And in some, it happened up north too. It was all over. That's crazy, man. But at least the individual, even though he served 3 years, at least he was convicted, because that was rare for, you know, a white man to be convicted for killing a black man back during, or a black person period, back during that Jim Crow era, you know. I'm at the Indiana Avenue Historic District in Indianapolis. And this was like the Bill Street and 12th and Vine Street of Indianapolis. You know how 12th and Vine was to Kansas City and Harlem was to New York and Bill Street is to Memphis? That's what Indiana Avenue is. African Americans by the 1890s had established a vibrant social, commercial, and economic community along Indiana Avenue. Black entertainers, entrepreneurs, politicians, and working people developed the avenue into a thriving, widely known neighborhood of the theaters, jazz clubs, stores, offices, and residences. And erected 1994 Indiana Historical Borough with support from individuals and organizations dedicated to preserving the heritage of Indiana Avenue. So yes, a lot of history associated with Indiana Avenue. And right here is the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library. But during the 1890s and during that era, especially after during the Reconstruction era and everything like that, this was one of the musical venues. There was a lot of jazz bars, a lot of businesses and everything of that nature on Indiana Avenue. So a lot of cities during that time, you have to remember, a lot of cities during that time that were populated by a large number of African Americans, there were thriving districts. This was the thriving district of Indianapolis. As you can see, these sculptures right here represent the musical heritage of Indiana Avenue. See, somebody like this represents the saxophone player. This represents the drummers. This represents the bass. This represents I believe, now this is I don't know if this is the saxophone or the trombone. I'm not sure. It's one of the woodwind instruments, I know that much. And this represents the guitar player. And it's right here in front of the Gardens of Canal Court residential area. Now, the sad thing about this district is that a lot of the buildings that were constructed or that were up and running during the Harlem Renaissance era, when this district was thriving, a lot of those buildings have been demolished and basically replaced with a bunch of townhouses and office buildings. So we're talking like, and remember, when this era, when Indiana Avenue was thriving, the Jim Crow laws were in effect, so there was segregation during that time. So 1965 is when this area just basically became abandoned, and a lot of urban blight existed within this area. But some of the buildings, remain. A couple of them remain actually, from that era, but it's no longer thriving. Obviously, we're way past those days. But one of the buildings that still exists is the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company, or at least that's what it was back in the early 1900s. Right now it's a Walker Theater, and it is still operational. The Walker Theater is, and it's called the Madam Walker Legacy Center, and they're hosting a concert from Boyz II Men, one of my favorite R&B bands of all time. They're going to be performing here on Friday, June 21st, 2 weeks from now. But Madam C.J. Walker, she was the first self-made millionaire, at least the first recorded self-made millionaire in America, first female self-made millionaire. Even though that is debatable, because there are sources out there that mention that it was another woman by the name of Mary Ellen Pleasant who was actually the first self-made female millionaire. And this was decades before Madam C.J. Walker came along. We're talking during slavery and after slavery. Mary Pleasant was a millionaire. She had a lot of wealth. So but the first recorded self-made female millionaire was Madam C.J. Walker. So again, very debatable part of history, but this was where Madam C.J. Walker had curated a lot of her hair care products, cosmetics. It was in this particular building right here. But it has since been converted into a theater. So Indiana Avenue is part of the Indiana or Indianapolis Culture Trail. But there you have it, Indiana Avenue. I'm back, and I'm now over here in the Broad Ripple Village District. This is Broad Ripple District. And right over here is Broad Ripple High School. As I make my way down the main drag of Broad Ripple, which is Broad Ripple Avenue. Now, Broad Ripple Village is on the north side of Indianapolis, so it's about 6 miles north of downtown Indianapolis. It was incorporated as the town of Broad Ripple in 1894, roughly 60 years after it was first platted. So it was its own town for at least close to 30 years. It was its own town, but now it is part of the city of Indianapolis because it was annexed to Indianapolis in 1922. So today it's one of those basically chill neighborhoods, diverse neighborhoods outside of the main part of the city, and it's also located near the White River. They actually have a park called the Broad Ripple Park, which is not far from here, which is right on the White River. But right now I'm in the commercial district of Broad Ripple. So it's basically, as you're gonna see momentarily, it's a lot of hangout spots, especially a lot of the college students from Butler University come over here and hang out. So it's one of those type of neighborhoods. Bars, you know, local restaurants, mom and pop stores, that whole thing, you know. Here's a cocktail lounge right here called Cholitas. So there's a lot of restaurants on this strip right here. They got this place called The Shop. It's simply called The Shop. Sells a bunch of apparel relating to Indiana. They have a pizzeria, a slice of New York City called Goodfellas. I wonder how this place is at night. All these bars and restaurants. They got a bar and grill right here. And you know it's not a college hangout spot unless they have a Starbucks. A boutique store right here, Pattaya. They also have a Cold Stone Creamery. I'm craving some ice cream, so I might have to stop back over here on the way back to the car. There's a taco spot called Condado. I love tacos, so I don't know. That might have to be lunch right there. But they have an Indian spot. It's Sahara and Gyros right here. And they have an India Hut restaurant. They got a piercing and tattoo spot right here. Tattoo parlor. sports bar across the street called Old Pro's Table. They got a lot of stuff to do over here, Broad Ripple. A lot of options as far as dining and entertainment. They got sports pub, saloon. They got insomnia cookies. They got all type of stuff over here. Oh, they even have a CD. They have an indie CD and vinyl shop. Oh, okay. Open 24/7 at indiecdandvinyl.com. So not only do they have a physical store, they also have an online store you can order from. Okay. You know, I gotta get the mural. The Broad Ripple in multicolored letters. This image is by Carl Leck, and this was actually painted in this year, 2024, and you can follow him at CB Imagery. So it's a nice little mural right here. Really? It's nice, yeah, it's nice. They just made it this year. Yes, this year, 2024.
It's really new.
Yeah, it's new. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, this year. Here's one right here too. This is on the alley. This is a image of a horse. Beautiful mural of the horse. A lady, a cowgirl riding a horse. And this is at Bootlegs Inco or Bootleg Sign Co. I think that's what that says. This is called the Alley Cat right here. I guess this is a bar. And they have a game room, and they have a tavern over here called the Broad Ripple Tavern. So it's a lot to get into. If you don't want to hang out downtown, come out to Broad Ripple. I know one thing, being that it's so hot outside, I'm getting ready to go across the street over here to Cold Stone and get me some ice cream. Might give me a milkshake, I'm not sure. Matter of fact, let me do this. about to go in here. Yo, check out all the vinyls that they have up in here. They got the Casablanca, BJ Thomas in the Valley, Peace in the Valley, the Shirelles, Sly and the Family Stone, all type of stuff, man. Too Short. Wow, this is fresh. Metaphors. See, I like mixes. I just like mix records. Like they have a trance, electronic, down tempo mix, and Art of Noise mixed Metaphors with Rakim. Yep. It's a ton of records in here, man. They got Fleetwood Mac and a lot of the classics, and they have them arranged alphabetically. Foreigner. They also got a bunch of CDs. Dude, that was... They even sell turntables too. And check this out, guys. They have an arcade machine, Raiden, and a couple of pinball machines. They got the Simpsons and the Tales from the Crypt and Led Zeppelin pinball machine. This is a nice vibe right here in this. They got a nice setup in here in this store. They get a lot of clientele too. You get a couple of CDs too. I got my 2 records, as you can see. Got my records at Indie CD and Vinyl, 806 Broad Ripple Ave, Indianapolis. Got that in. I got my cookies and cream milkshake, Cold Stone Creamery. So I'm good and satisfied to get back on the road. And that concludes my trip and vlog in Indianapolis. It's been a good few hours in the city. Really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you do, like and subscribe. And for those who are returning, thanks for checking out my content, and thanks for continuing to support my content. With that in mind, you guys have a great day, a great weekend, and can't wait to the next one. Peace.